Welcome everybody. Thank you for joining today. Going to be a short, gentle practice today. Just a little bit about waking up the body a little bit. So I'm going to begin in a reclined position. I'm going to say, kind of this idea of waking up. It may be sort of the first steps into the day, or maybe it's the first steps from being at our desk, or just in kind of a more sedentary portion of our day. So coming into this reclined position, settling into the ground here for a few moments, bringing our attention to the breathing. Pulling deep into the navel as much as we're able. Then from here, maybe starting to just shift our hips left to right. So just this thought that we're angling our body just a bit. So I'm not really going for any major movement, just kind of checking in with the body, with the muscles that create this opportunity. So it's almost as if I'm pulling my hip toward my ribs. And just shifting back and forth as it feels comfortable. If you can think about turning the pelvis in a bit more of a circle, maybe we kind of press the belt line into the ground, go across one hip, down into the back pocket, and then maybe across the lower area and up the other hip. So we're starting to kind of find a little bit more mobility in our lower back, a little bit more connection perhaps with the muscles in the center of our body. A couple more times around. And maybe circling the feet just a little bit, or even wiggling the fingers. And then gently drawing one knee into the chest. Just drawing it in, sinking back for a moment here. Maybe circling the ankle of that lifted foot. Continuing to breathe. And maybe changing sides here as it's comfortable. And maybe drawing both knees in here, whatever point it's comfortable. And maybe rocking from side to side. Perhaps releasing the knees. Maybe coming into that idea of circling the pelvis a little bit, one direction and the other. Drawing it in once again. So a little bridge if you'd like, releasing the feet to the ground, rolling the hips up and down. Just kind of moving with that as it's comfortable, taking it up just to whatever degree is available, rolling the hips and back down. Maybe lowering the knees left to right. I've been doing that intermittently here, but just lowering side to side, just as that feels comfortable. Maybe one more time to each side. And I do this with the feet a little wider than the hips to bring more of the articulation into the hips and save a little bit of the rotation from the lower back. Obviously, as we get warmer and a little more comfortable, we may choose to bring the legs a little closer, bring a little bit more of that rotation into the lower back. Good. So maybe setting up with the bridge, like the feet on the ground as if we were going for a bridge, but then perhaps just reaching one foot toward the ceiling for a moment. All right, so I'm going to start with the one leg up and the other one extended toward the ceiling, but eventually I'm going to work on releasing the bent knee. Just taking a few moments to reach here. Now this is not, I'm not doing this for the strap. The goal is really not to pull and be, aggressive in this. It's just to kind of wake up the legs and feel what's happening here. Kind of reaching through the heel, whatever height we're comfortable. You certainly can support behind the thigh if you'd like with the arms, and then continuing to think about extending the leg, reaching through the heel a little bit. But the idea is we're really looking to kind of light up the back of our leg here. Releasing when that's comfortable, and then we'll set up for the other side, maybe starting with the knee bent for a little bit of support, drawing the other leg up, reaching through the heel, maybe extending, supporting the lifted leg if you'd like. So don't forget about the lower leg. Even if we've extended it, it's not forgotten, right? That leg is still active. That's what's grounding us to the earth at this point. That's what's anchoring our body and keeping us fairly stable. Maybe reaching through the heel a little bit more. Maybe bringing both knees back to the chest, rocking a bit from side to side. Good. So maybe while we hold this, let's just gently lift our head off the ground. Think about pushing our chin toward the ceiling for the moment, maybe looking to the left and the right. Maybe a couple more. Supporting the head, or lifting the head up, right? And maybe lifting the chin toward our chest a couple of moments. Or pulling an ear toward the shoulder. Good. And then resting the head back to the ground, just letting the neck relax for a moment. Very important to stabilize and support. When you're ready, rolling, coming up onto our hands and knees. A little cat-cow, just flexing and extending. Moving through each joint that we are able to access through the length of our spine. Just taking a few more cycles here. Just noticing what it feels like. Back to neutral here when you're ready. Perhaps a little bit left to right. So we're coming with a little bit more motion maybe. Exhaling as we pull the hip and the shoulder toward one another a bit, and then to the other side.
to the middle when you're comfortable, maybe making some circles if that's so comfortable to you. So let's take a moment to sink back into child's position. We'll just release things here, take the pressure off our hands for a moment, maybe rest our head on the ground, or I do like to use my hands, especially at first, to give my head just a little bit of lift from the ground. Just a couple of breaths here, feeling it expand across the lower back. So as you're comfortable, let's come back up onto our hands and knees. So we're just finding our way onto all fours. So I'd like to progress into a little bit of spinal balance where we lift one leg and maybe the opposite arm, coming down. So this is full motion as we're on our hands and knees. Inhaling as we come up, exhaling as we come down. Now, if lifting, all the way so that we get to a point where we're horizontal or we're parallel with the ground, if that's not comfortable, don't worry about it. Don't lift it that high. Just start thinking about extending a little bit, right, as we kind of worm our way into these motions. If the balancing aspect is a little bit more of a challenge, maybe we do, a leg or an arm at a time. It kind of depends on what foundation we're using. Sometimes, I'll direct these things, or even before getting out of bed, and sometimes the mattress isn't the most stable for some of this, so. And maybe a couple of moments back in cat-cow, or shifting and settling back to child's position for a moment. Good, so maybe walking the arms to the right or the left, finding a little more motion through the torso. Maybe the other side. Back to the middle. Maybe coming forward to a modified plank. Think about pulling the elbows, the upper arms close to the body. Maybe we just hold there, or maybe we do some scaption push-ups where our arms don't really move. We just basically shift our shoulder blades back and forward a little bit. And maybe pressing back. So let's come all the way forward to a prone position. We'll lower right down to the ground here. Maybe folding the arms to give our forehead a place to rest. Just feeling length through the body. Just kind of a passive extension here for a moment. Now I'm articulating my lower back because I actually have a catch today. So I'm just trying to see if I can't open that up a little bit. But as you're comfortable, maybe we bring the arms to our sides. And now, not so much pressing through the arms, but just gently lifting the head, the neck, and the shoulders here. Right now, maybe we pull the arms off the ground, but we're really activating the upper back. So I'm doing the best I can to leave my hips and my legs relaxed. They're connected to the ground, but they're not, we're not lifting them or anything at this point. We're just really trying to light up the upper back and wake things up. Let's come down for a moment, and then maybe up once again. Just holding that for a breath or two, and releasing down as you're comfortable. Good. All right. So maybe we kind of reach one heel toward the back of our body, or the other. Maybe we reach back and we catch one heel. Or the other side. Maybe we do it one more time, again, one heel at a time. Maybe we actively use that leg just a bit to draw the shoulder back. So we've kind of warmed into it. If this side feels, if it's comfortable, take a moment, releasing this one, and then doing the second side. So catching the ankle, using the leg to actually kind of trying to extend the leg, which pulls the shoulder up, just extends this a bit. And releasing as it's comfortable. And perhaps pressing back to child's position. So from child's position, I'm actually going to come up into a hero. Now this is available, this is comfortable to me. It may not be the most comfortable, so if you wish to use a block or a blanket or a pillow or something to support your hips just a bit, just take a moment, right, coming up. So maybe just sitting in that hero for a few moments. Maybe we lean back just a bit. Camel is another option. It's a little bit more extended, but the knees don't need quite so much flexion. So with the camel, we kind of place our hands on above our back pockets, or you can use the block or heels to support. So come back. So this is a little bit more into the torso, into the spine. Right? I was kind of looking for a little bit more with the legs here. So if hero is at all available, maybe taking it back. And as long as the knees are comfortable and all the toes are in contact with the ground, maybe we walk things back just a bit. I'm going to get the block out of here. Sit down. So I'm just shifting my weight just a little bit. And again, this is comfortable with my knees and my hips. So as we're comfortable, maybe coming up. So I want to shift to one side. Right, so a lot of times I'll just shift off of hero and kind of come into this mermaid position. But if you want to come into a little bit more, this might be a little bit more comfortable for you to bring that under leg out and sit for a moment. So again, part of the idea is we're just trying to find a little bit of length in the lateral part of our lower spine. So I'm using, my left leg is on the ground, and I'm actually using my left arm to press that left shoulder up a bit. So, so I'm kind of balanced out a little bit. So you get a little internal rotation on that right, a little external rotation on the left. All right, so when you're comfortable, depending on how you've done this, right, we can shift back through hero and set up on the other side, or you could bring the legs around in front, depending on how you like to work with this. So I'm going to keep that right leg in front this time. The left leg is behind me. So, and then again, maybe pressing into that right leg a bit, lifting. I'm kind of feeling the length coming really through the quadratus area. When we're comfortably finished with that, let's bring the legs around in front. So we'll find an easy seated position. Right, so just starting easy seated. I'm just going to walk my hands around to find a little bit of a twist. And perhaps the other way. Neutral when you're comfortable. Good. So from here, I'm actually going to extend my legs out to the sides. Right? So I'm going to find the wide leg, straddle position. Now, really for today, I'm just going to press my hands into the ground, lifting the chest a little bit, and just feel for a few moments that I'm reaching out through the heels. It's not an aggressive stretch. This is just trying to get things to wake up and move. And if I've been sitting at my desk for
a period of time, or if we've been sitting, the hamstrings will tighten a little bit. So it's really nice just to sit with them extended. Right? But it helps to support, right, to lift, to come out of the lower back a bit, reaching through the heels. You certainly can take it further forward if you would like, but I'm not finding that to be gentle at this moment. I'm just really finding comfortable positions. I am going to take a little bit of an opportunity to twist here, though, maybe turning, so I'm still supporting with the arms, but just gently bringing the body around. So that brings a little bit more attention to the inner thigh. Keeping the chest lifted, maybe going the other direction. Coming back to the middle when you're comfortable. Maybe drawing the soles of the feet together and gently lowering the knees down. So you may, to warm this up, right, you may wish to kind of massage the inner thigh a little bit, kind of get in there, and you can feel a very tense area, especially the closer we get to the hip. If you follow that down toward the knee, you'll wake this up quite nicely. I was taught to do this with the pad of the thumb. That can be a little bit intense, but it's a very good way to do it. Just kind of work down through one leg and then doing the other. Same idea. So again, just kind of the pad of the thumb, just gently circling into the areas that are particularly tender. So just kind of connecting the line down to the knee. And we were taught to do it 3 times, but take it as it's comfortable to you. And then if you'd like to extend that line, kind of follow along down the lower leg, you can do circles or just gently pressing down that leg. It may be kind of tender, and that's kind of the idea. We're trying to get some of that stagnation out of there. Good. So you may notice that allows a little bit more fluidity of the motion, or even a little bit more flexibility there. Just something to get things moving. So I'm actually going to take that into the feet and just kind of through the arches, maybe just kind of press the arches of the feet a little bit out to the toes. My toes are a little cold right now, so I'm just trying to really work the circulation out. We're not going to do anything more fancy with the toes, but just a couple of moments here to open up the feet just a bit. Good. So I'm going to turn and find my way, just so that I'm on the long edge of the mat here. But I'm going to take a moment to balance here, just for a moment. Maybe extending one leg or the other. Right, so I'm still supporting behind the thighs, but I'm starting to get into the balance of the boat. If you'd like to roll a little bit, so just finding a little bit of activity coming up and then fixing, right, or stabilizing, right? Rolling, coming up, catching yourself, right? Rolling, catching, right? So we're just going to recreate that balance. One more. Good. And then, actually, going to return to an easy seated position. So we're not going to end in a reclined position today. The idea that, this is kind of a gentle wake-up practice, if you will. So I've gone from that very sedentary state to creating a little bit more activity, a little bit more energetic movement, right? Opening up starting kind of in the core, but going out through, especially the hips and the legs, so that we're ready to get up and move about a bit more. So ending in this easy seated position, whatever that looks like for you, I may actually kind of find my one leg up. And I'm just going to sit for just a couple of moments in this new energized position, kind of feeling the openness that happens through the body, tucking the chin in just a bit, relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. Just feeling how that inhalation expands into the ribs and how the exhalation maybe settles us a little bit. So there's a little bit of a balance with the inhalation and the exhalation. And hopefully we found a way to balance the more restful parts of our practice with a little bit more ability to move into active. So this, maybe is a good way to do. Sometimes I talk about this one being the first thing in the morning, or maybe after being at my desk for a long time, I'll do some of these kinds of things before I get up and go for a walk, or do a little bit more of an active part of my day. But I thank you for joining. We're going to close out our time together today with 3 breaths. The first breath, honoring the body for its work. The second breath, honoring the breath for its feedback, its presence. And the third breath, honoring the mind for its attention, for just really working with a gentle practice and finding the benefit that has for our day. So as we're comfortable, taking a moment, saluting one another, namaste. Thank you very much for joining today. Until next time.